So we are living in the golden age of creepypasta. It started with all these horror stories just getting circulated around the internet, but then you could see particular characters rising to prominence among people who are nerdy about these kind of things. There's sort of a canon, like an Avengers, an expanded universe of creepypasta characters skulking around out there. The one everybody knows is Slender Man, but I believe the next most prominent creepypasta character is Jeff the Killer. I was the most convinced of Jeff the Killer's importance when I saw that he had a Spirit Halloween store costume last year. The key difference is Slender Man rose to prominence because people felt inspired by this creepy image to make up their own mythos and make their own fan films or found footage YouTube series or indie video games. And Jeff the Killer rose to prominence entirely because a lot of goth tween girls wanted to date him. If you're not familiar with Jeff the Killer, basically crash course, he's like a teenage serial killer and he wears a hoodie. I think the original story circulated with this like photoshopped image that was supposed to look sort of creepy. And the original story specified that he had sunken black eyes and scraggly black hair and pale white skin and one of those scary cut open Glasgow smiles like the Joker has. But the key thing to take away from Jeff the Killer's backstory is that he was bullied. Jeff the Killer is only a creepypasta monster because he's very sad. And you can change him. It wasn't a big leap for tween girls to translate those sunken black eyes into guy liner and the scraggly black hair into like a scene haircut. The pale skin is just pale skin. And the scary smile is still there, it just kind of makes him look edgy. So despite no one really finding him scary, Jeff the Killer found his way into the pantheon of creepypasta monsters kind of just by virtue of having a lot of anime fan art drawn of him. And a lot of fan fiction. Oh hey, look! This is Insanity, a Jeff the Killer story by Nisha Nicole Nicholson. No relation. And you can already see in the beautiful cover that inconsistency in the fan art I was talking about. This is my favorite kind of fan fiction, the kind that you can buy as a physical book. I thought we could read it together here today. Let's jump right in. Chapter 1 begins as our main character Naomi is preparing to go to summer camp. You'll have fun, Naomi, Mom said. You might even meet someone there. But who? I always get this feeling when something bad is about to happen. I got that feeling on the way to camp, and something usually always does happen. Last time it happened, I cut my hand open while slicing lemons and limes for juice. I still have the scar. Well, let's hope whatever happens at camp, it's not as serious as that. We got there and I got my stuff out of the car and went to find out where my cabin was. On the way there, I passed a kid who looked my age. As I walked by him, that feeling got stronger, but I dismissed it. I stopped and looked at him. He had a white hoodie on. He also had short brown hair. Okay, it's not Jeff. She puts her stuff in her cabin and decides to go on a walk while listening to music and bumps into the kid again. My name's Jeff. I was wrong, it's Jeff. I was foolish to think they would introduce someone else on the first page that wasn't Jeff the Killer. I noticed earlier you were staring at me. Why? I was staring because you're wearing a hoodie during the summer. It's the way I dress, Jeff said. No, not really. What does she mean, not really? I mean, apparently it is the way he dresses, because he's dressed that way. A girl with blonde hair and green eyes walked past us. She had on a pink shirt, a pink skirt, and pink flip-flops. I think this girl likes pink, I said. She said it out loud. Now, I'm not psychic, but I think in a book where the heroes are all emo, a girl in this much pink is not going to be good news. She looked over and saw Jeff. Hi, my future husband, Jeffy. Okay, she's a romantic rival. Bad news confirmed. The girl in the pink is named Mallory, which definitely sounds like a mean girl name. Jeffy, don't pay attention to her. I'm so much better than that. Well, you gotta give it to Mallory. She can really put those subtle digs into the conversation. She knows I'm better than her. I'm richer, smarter, more popular, and I'm much prettier. Oh, they're dropping some Jeff perspective on us. Some perjective. I knew that last comment pushed Naomi over the edge. Then I saw it. Mallory had hidden a knife in her skirt pocket. I felt... This escalated in a way I was not anticipating. I didn't know what to do, and then I got this weird feeling. I felt dizzy and dropped to my knees, my vision clouded. Mallory grabbed the knife and twirled it. You see, I can make you beautiful if you let me. I blacked out to more screams. I woke up and Mallory and Naomi were gone. There was some blood on the ground. I got up. These feelings keep getting worse and worse. Okay, so he's having the same feelings of something bad about to happen that Naomi gets. I hope when he was unconscious, Naomi didn't cut herself making lemon and lime juice. So Jeff overhears Mallory telling the story of what happened to her friend Sally. And according to Mallory, Naomi was the one that had a knife. She's lying about it. And she says that she disarmed Naomi and then cut Naomi with her own knife. That story's definitely gonna fly with the counselors. So did you kill her? Sally asked. What kind of camp? Of course not. I just merely scared her. I guess I don't need this knife anymore. Famous last words, Mallory. I looked up and saw Naomi on one of the tree limbs that looked over the lake. I was worried Mallory had done something really bad to you. Well, she did. Just look. She showed me her arm and it was all bandaged up. So was her leg. She also cut my back and my waist, she said. Where are the adults at this camp? That girl needs to go to therapy or something, I said. Oh, or jail. She needs more than therapy, Naomi said. I've known her my whole life. What? Blondes are crazy, she said. I want revenge, but my mom always says revenge is never the answer. If you want, I could talk to Mallory for you. I would be concerned about this. We don't know if Jeff is a serial killer yet, but he's going to be at some point. Thanks, I would hug you, but I would bring more pain to my wounds. We should get back, I said. On the way back, Naomi surprised me with a question. So, Jeff, do you like Mallory? Quite a loaded question, I think, given the events of the afternoon. Jeff says he doesn't like her. I don't know what other answer could be expected of him. They part ways. Naomi remarks that Jeff looks a little pale. Do you think he looks like that level of pale? Naomi's perspective. I sat in the sand and pulled my phone out. I had a text from my mom. It said, "Hi honey, how's camp? Well, I have good news and bad news. Have you met that someone yet? Does she mean a boy? I'm confused as to why this is even a co-ed camp. Or is it even a co-ed camp? Is Jeff a camper or did he just show up here? They have done no structured camp activities. They haven't gone to the mess hall or gone on a hike. Do you just turn these kids loose with a bunch of knives in some cabins by a lake and be like, don't kill each other? I walked slowly back to the main campsite. It started to sprinkle and then it went into a downpour. Hi, Naomi. I haven't seen you all day. Where have you been? Katie asked. Who's Katie? You're going to have to tell him sometime, Katie said. Tell who? What now? Tell Jeff that you like him. What? How does Katie know Jeff? The cabin door opened and two other girls came in. Hey, May and Lacey. Okay, these are just her cabin mates, I guess. Her cabin mates are awesome friends, it turns out. They brought Naomi back some banana pudding and a large chocolate brownie, so all is well. I plugged my headphones into my phone and turned on Katy Perry's Dark Horse. I listened and read. They do have a counselor. Her name is Kayla, and she brings hot biscuits with honey for Naomi. Everyone's just bringing her food. Thanks, Kayla, I said. No problem. You must have been really hungry because I didn't see you at dinner. I didn't come look for you. I hope you weren't getting stabbed or anything. Oh, I was at the nurse's cabin getting some wounds taken care of. I showed her my arm. Oh, what happened? I cut my arm on a rock, I lied. Why doesn't she just tell someone that Mallory attacked her with a knife? I mean, yes, it sounds crazy, and yet it happened. I went back to reading and listening to my music. Everybody's Fool by Evanescence came on. I thought, this describes Mallory so much. Burn. Naomi goes to sleep and then she has a nightmare that she walks around the camp and then goes into Mallory's cabin and Mallory and all of her roommates have been murdered and she sees Jeff there with a knife. Where is everybody? I yelled. He turned and looked at me and said, I talked to Mallory and her friends for you. He held up a knife. It was the knife Mallory used to cut me. I used this to talk to her. Yeah, Jeff, we understood that with the first quip. You didn't need to, spell it out. Naomi wakes up from her nightmare. to the sound of a scream in real life. Jeff's perspective. I was in Mallory's cabin. I had killed all her friends. Okay, I guess we're doing this. I held the knife up. She looked up. Isn't that the knife I used to cut your friend open? Maybe don't remind him of that right now, Mallory. I laughed maniacally. Of course it is. Now I'm going to kill you with it. He really needs to work on, like, his witty comebacks. I stabbed her in the chest and whispered in her ear, go to sleep. I forgot. That's a Jeff the Killer thing. He says, go to sleep. And it's supposed to be clever? The cabin door slowly opened and a girl walked in and shined a light around the cabin. Whoever was in the cabin looked at Mallory's body and screamed, this can't be happening. It was Naomi. She dropped the flashlight. I really hope you didn't do this, Jeff. She's just saying that, like, to herself. But, like, it's kind of a resigned reaction to finding a cabin full of, like, 7 dead bodies of your peers. She just kind of throws her hands up like, better not have been Jeff. I'm going to have to ask him tomorrow, I guess. Yeah, this isn't an urgent matter. So Jeff just goes and takes a shower and then falls asleep. His roommate wakes him up. He walks around to the lake to find Naomi, and he sees her and she's singing to herself. You have a very nice voice, I said. She didn't look too happy to see me, and I was afraid I knew why. I think you might be right on that one. Naomi says, so, have you heard about what happened to Mallory in her cabin? No, what happened? She and her whole cabin were murdered last night. I acted surprised. Who would do something like that? Yeah, so the camp is having us leave early. They don't want anyone else dying. Naomi's phone rang, playing Kingdom Hearts. Hi, Mom. Camp is having us leave early. You know, no reason. Naomi looked at her phone and sighed. I wonder what could have caused this to happen to them, she said. Well, I said, sometimes people like that deserve to die. He's not playing his cards very well. I wonder if they will be serving lunch before we leave, I said. I don't think so. They want everyone out of the camp as soon as possible. Because of the killings, they are shutting this place down now. That was quick. I like how an entire cabin of campers were murdered by a killer who's still seemingly at large, and they're just allowing the kids to wander the grounds by themselves. They apparently hadn't called Naomi's mom yet. They were just like, camp's over, find your own way home, kids. No one even woke Jeff up this morning. His roommate had to do it, and his roommate didn't see fit to mention the murders. Back to Naomi's perspective, she wakes up in her room at home when I heard a window break. Then all I heard was a scream. I walked slowly into the room and heard someone singing what sounded like the song Awoken by Wooden Toaster and Hate Seed. It sounds like this highly specific song, but I'm not sure. It could be something else. She sees the dead bodies of her family and Jeff the Killer, but it's not the Jeff the Killer she knows. He has his scary white face and a blood-stained hoodie and black-rimmed eyes. Hello, Naomi. I hope you don't mind me barging in and killing your family. Fortunately, it was just another dream. Unfortunately, Naomi's last murder dream did come true immediately after. But her mom is here. She picks them up from camp. She's giving Jeff a ride home too, so that's really nice. And she gets them Arby's. I banged my head against the car window. Ouch! Jeff laughed. You laugh at people getting hurt too? How charming. Oh yeah, it's funny if I'm not the one getting hurt. He laughed more. I laugh at my mom all the time when she chokes. We both laughed. How often is your mom choking, Naomi? I wonder if this whole killing thing will be on the news, Mom said. It might. Big things like killings and stuff always end up on the news, I say. It's a very profound observation. So they exchange phone numbers and then they drop Jeff off at his house. But it turns out that Jeff's house is in the same neighborhood as Naomi's. Like, they're just neighbors. I don't know what the point was in having them go to camp to meet. It also turns out they go to the same school. Okay. For the record, every time Naomi eats in this story, we get to hear what it is. And she's eaten a lot for like this many pages. So she's home with her family and they make her spaghetti and meatballs with garlic bread, in case you were curious. She exchanges some flirtatious texts with Jeff and then goes downstairs to join her family. I walked downstairs and sat on the couch and turned on the news. There has been a recent discovery of a cabin of girls found dead this morning at the camp known as Camp Ivy. I sat there intrigued by what I was hearing. Here we have Mallory's mother, a victim of this terrible crime. Firstly, it's getting too real. Yeah, I get that she was the mean, generic bully character, but this dead girl has a mother who loved her. Secondly, I like that on the news report her name is just Mallory. Everyone just has first names because this was written by a child. My sweet girl never had any enemies except for that one girl who lives next door to us. Oh no, Naomi. There was a knock at the front door. I walked and opened the front door to see a bunch of news cameras and flashing lights. Wait, so this was a live broadcast? And it was happening on her front lawn? See, just look at her. That's the face of a murderer. I heard Mallory's mom yell. A camera was pushed in my face. Tell us, did you kill the beauty queen Mallory? No, I didn't kill anyone. Yeah, sure, I hated that girl's guts, but you should know she's not as sweet and nice as you all think. Girl, just throwing this dead girl under the bus in front of her mom? Also not helping your case. I rolled up my sleeves on my shirt and rolled my shirt up to the side. Oh, okay, so she's like hitching it up. And, okay, these cuts are proof that Mallory isn't the sweet and innocent girl you think she is. She nearly killed me with her pink sparkly knife. Her knife was pink. Also, in defense of the news crew, I thought it was super invasive that they just rolled up to her house, but like, they've yielded a pretty juicy story from this. So, the cameras turned to Mallory's mother. Is this true? Did your daughter have a pink sparkly knife? She did, yes, but wait a second. Mallory's mom knew about the knife? You heard it here, folks. The beauty queen Mallory was really a monster in disguise. Wow, it's easy to rally these news people to your side. I walked back into the house and slammed the front door shut. Stupid reporters. This is why I don't watch the news. You were just watching the news. That's how you knew. Never mind. Okay, so she pretty much won that confrontation. I like how much of a horrible wish fulfillment this is, that the clearly in the wrong preppy bully girl who likes to wear pink was murdered. And then also Naomi got to slander her name after her death to her own mother. Naomi, go take a bath and head for bed, my mom called from her room. That she, I guess, didn't leave the entire time that like 10 different news stations were on her front lawn shouting that her daughter was a murderer. Okay, we are back to Jeff's perspective, and it's the next day and it's time for school.